War Eagle guys, welcome back. Auburn yesterday, big win over Vanderbilt, 31-15 in the Music City. Eli, heavy Auburn fans. What'd you think watching that game yesterday?
I felt pretty okay. It was a road game, but not really because Auburn fans, we travel like no other fan base in the entire country. So literally, we were doing our own chants in the stadium, and it sounded great. But watching the game, I think our offense performed okay. There's a couple of spots that we can talk about in a little bit. I think defensively we played outstanding. They continue to play out of their minds. I think the tackling was amazing. Our blitzes, our pass rush was great. 18th consecutive turnover in a football game, which is a stat that if you asked me if we're gonna do that this year, I would have told you you're crazy. But I just think we played okay. We gotta fix a couple of things going to Arkansas, but I think we did all right.
I was pretty pleased with the performance of this Auburn team. Definitely trending upwards, I would say, from where we
Yep.
were just a month ago. I mean, this is the same Auburn team that lost four straight games, went winless for a month. A full
Mm-hmm.
month of the calendar year, we didn't win a football game. So, to win back to back SEC games, yes, it is Vanderbilt. Yes, it's still an SEC game. To win back to back SEC games is a massive momentum bump heading into Arkansas and heading into what will be a huge Iron Bowl for Auburn, and we know anything can happen over there in Jordan Hare. So let's talk a little bit about this Vanderbilt game. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball for the Tigers. Peyton Thorne, second straight week, we saw him as the guy. We saw him as the number one guy. No Robbie Ashford for the second straight week. No Robbie Ashford. How do you think that affected the offense again? Do you think it's just an increased confidence boost for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, look, Robbie Ashford is an outstanding athlete, and I feel like he deserves to see some field, some playing time. Maybe not if it's not Auburn, somewhere else. He's a great athlete, but I think for the sake of this offense and for the sake of this team, you have to have Peyton Thorne in there. I think he gives us the best option to win football games, and as you can see, the past two games he's been playing really well, right around 70% completion percentage. Right over 400 yards these past two games, 5 touchdowns, and I think he's throwing the ball pretty well. He's making smart decisions. Besides that little, enter pick six, which was, is what it is. But I think I think you have to keep him in the game if we want to win football games.
Yeah, Peyton 17 for 27. Probably should have been more like 21, 22 for 27. The drops kind of killed him, but again, I don't know that I can put all of them on the quarterback. It's a lot of easy catches in open field. I mean, maybe who was it running down the middle of the field? Was that Camden
Yeah,
Brown? That
no.
one?
So
Yeah, I don't know.
Amari
Maybe
Kelly.
that. Oh, Amari Kelly, that one. The
Yeah.
Camden Brown one where he jumped crazy early. I don't know. Maybe that one's an underthrown ball. I think the broadcast blew that one a little out of proportion. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, let's stick to Peyton. He played really well. Didn't make any really piss poor decisions like we had seen in previous games. I mean, that interception is what it is. He quite literally never saw the DB, and it didn't end up hurting this team in the end. So I'll shrug it
Yeah.
off. I think this whole team will. Even Hugh Freeze at halftime called it he literally went into the locker room and said that was a stupid decision. So it's nice
Yeah.
to know that these coaches are holding him to a higher standard. I do want to ask you, when Peyton was brought in here, I don't think he was brought in here thinking he's going to be a Heisman contender. But what he will do is raise the floor of this Auburn offense. So our expectation isn't 15 points a game.
Yeah.
Do you think he's done that effectively, and do you think he'll continue to do that the rest of this season, or do you think we'll see a Robbie Ashford maybe showcase game, New Mexico State?
I think we've saw the last of Robbie Ashford maybe. But I think last game, I think that was maybe more of a turning page for Peyton Thorne, and in performance on the field. He's really like I just mentioned the past two games. He's playing like he probably should have been playing from the start of the season. I think from past two games, he's definitely raised our floor of the offense, and if we can just I think if the receivers can kind of get on the jug machine a little bit and catch a couple of the balls, and Jarquez keeps doing what he's doing, I think we should be able to win out and into Iron Bowl. So
I think the one fear for me let's jump to this wide receiver room. This room is what it is. It's not going to change at all from here on out the rest of this season, obviously. That's just not how college football works. But I don't think we can expect more than what we got yesterday against Vanderbilt. I think that's what this room is. It's what we've gotten this whole year. And so to go into Arkansas, New Mexico State, and the Iron Bowl expecting this room to be revamped and to make plays in the open field, in traffic, and to win those 50-50 jump balls, it's just not a part of this offense this year. I think at times we've expected that, and it's just not realistic for the guys we have in this room. There are dudes who we haven't seen much of, like Caleb Burton, who seems to have sure hands, true freshman from redshirt freshman from, Ohio State. Coy Moore, really know where he went in the wide receiver room. I don't know, maybe there's other guys I'm thinking of. Rivaldo, I think that was a very fluky 2 drops he had on that last drive. But target those guys, the ones with the sure hands, and I don't know. Let's see what we got going into next year, especially in this New Mexico State game.
yeah, I mean with the receiver room, one thing I like to see is they're getting open. It's just making the contested plays, making the contested catches that we're not seeing a lot of. But what to kind of jump ahead into the future, what Hugh Freeze is doing is he's recruiting receivers that we know can make those plays. Kids like Perry Thompson, kids like Bryce Kane from Baker. Those guys that are surefire receivers, 5-star kids, 4-star kids that we know can elevate this offense to where they need to be. So, if you're feeling a little bit, uneasy about this receiver room, just look ahead to the 2024 class, to Perry Thompson and kids like that are definitely going to make this room a lot better. But I want to talk about defense, Jake. Let's talk about defense.
Or you want to talk about looking ahead real fast? Just
Let's
one little nugget. We just matched at 5 wins. Our win total from 2022 with 3 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Just a little perspective for you.
Yeah.
Right.
In year one too. So a lot of
We're a New Mexico State win in Jordan Hare away from being bowl eligible. That's another 2 weeks of practice for these young guys. It's another 2 weeks of recruiting for this coaching staff. It's I don't know. I'll take whatever extra football we can get. More Strictly Auburn. More time just talking and shooting it with the guys. So I'm looking forward to that and praying we get one more of those wins. Oh, and on the offensive side, real fast before we jump to defense, Jarquez Hunter. I don't know how we just skipped him. Jarquez Hunter, I mean, is playing the best football of his Auburn career. He saw 19 touches, 188 yards, just under 10 yards a carry. I'm impressed. That's kind of what I've been asking for. Let him be the bulk running back. I think he's the beneficiary of some injuries, whether it's Damari Alston or Jeremiah Cobb falling a little behind. When Jarquez is the guy, he's so good. What'd you see yesterday from him?
Well, yeah, I mean, Hugh Freeze mentioned in his post-game interview, shout out to Vince, I watched his little package, got to get some knowledge from that. But, yeah, Coach Hugh Freeze said that with what he's seeing from Jarquez is that he's just a little bit more patient behind the line. He's letting the O-line develop the play a little bit more, so whenever he hits that hole, he's gone for 67 yards for a touchdown. So I think from the difference from now and from the beginning of the season is he's just being a little bit more patient behind the line. I know maybe some people, if you're watching this, you should remember Kerryon Johnson, how patient he was behind the line and what he did at Auburn. So I think if Jarquez continues to be patient and just kind of look up and wait for that hole to develop, you'll see more touchdown, hopefully more 60-yard touchdowns from Jarquez.
Yeah, the line played really well. It gave
Connor Lew,
Jarquez,
man, he's killing it.
Connor Lew is legit. Keep in mind, that kid's a freshman. He's here to stay. He's here to stay.
So, yeah. And that's the thing is, what I try to keep in my mind is, for Auburn fans, guys, we have to look into the future because obviously right now, we're still rebuilding. But kids like Connor Lew, I mean, this offensive line that we're building from literally the ground up is going to set us up for success for 3 to 4 years to come. So I know right now it might not look pretty. I mean, and at times it does look pretty, but we just got to remember that we're still rebuilding, and in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be looking like a really, really good football team.
Yeah, let's hope this trend continues on the upswing. Like you wanted to do just a minute ago, let's hop to the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the defense. I think
Oh yeah,
DJ James is the first name we have to talk about. He's a dude
Sure.
who we've said time and time again who has this first, second round potential to play in the league next year, and he just hasn't showed out like we thought he would. He played outstanding on Saturday against Will Shepherd, a really good wide receiver, a really talented big body receiver, and DJ James, I mean, strapped up, locked him in. So, Eli, what'd you see from him?
Let me give you his stats: 7 total tackles, 7 solo tackles. So DJ James was doing what DJ James does. He was making plays. One play that I really saw that I remember from him is, I mean, an amazing open field tackle on their tight end. If he doesn't make that tackle, he's running 30 yards plus for a first down and maybe even a touchdown. That play alone was just amazing to watch from DJ. And then he had also 2 pass breakups, which, like you just said, he was covering one of their better, bigger receivers, and he locked him up. DJ, that's what he does. He literally throws a whole blanket on their receiver, and you don't hear from him until after the game. So shout out to DJ, man. He's a great kid, great football player. Really looking forward to what he can do in the league when they call his name up to the big league. So, this is one of his biggest games he's had so far.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest knock we've had on DJ James is his inability to get off of blocks and make tackles. So Saturday was pretty relieving for those critics, myself included. So I'll be curious to see what happens against an Arkansas and then against a Vanderbilt, and then obviously turning his eyes to Combine next level, assuming that's the direction he goes. What else did you see from this defense? I saw a defensive line that got home a lot. They played really, really sound, stayed to their assignments, and didn't give up the big run, which is something that, I mean, this Vanderbilt team, I know they're 2-8. I know they're 0-6 in conference play, but they're more than capable of busting a big play, right? Like,
Yeah.
we didn't really see that.
Any college D1 offenses has the athletes to make big plays, and Auburn didn't allow that. They held them at right 100 yards rushing, which is outstanding for this offense. Held them to 160 yards passing, so you couldn't ask more from them. I think they held them to 8 points, which is what you're supposed to do for a Vandy team. And Nehemiah Pritchett got that interception, which gave Auburn their 18th consecutive turnover in a football game, which is awesome to hear. This defense is just playing lights out. I wish our offense could play up to their standard, but I just don't think we have the talent to do it, and which is okay. But I'm really looking forward to this defense against Bama, Arkansas, and New Mexico State, the remainder games that we have left. But I just love the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, this defense gives this Auburn team a chance to win every football game they're in.
Yep.
Right? I don't think they're not the best defense in the country. This offense isn't the worst offense in the country. But our defense is certainly good enough that it'll keep us in every single game this year, right? So, especially at home. Like in the Iron Bowl in, 3 weeks from yesterday?
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
3 weeks from yesterday? 4 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks from yesterday? Like, Jordan Hare is going to be crazy. This defense is going to play up to it. They're going to feed off of energy. That's what they've done all year. That Vanderbilt crowd, or lack thereof, defense was feeding off of it. Auburn Tigers chant, like, everything. It was awesome. They stepped up. They did their job. They gave us a chance to win. We took it. Now we look ahead. Now we look ahead to Arkansas next week. Another that'll be a true road game. I know Nashville.
Sure.
Nashville was a real road game, but again,
Nah.
Let's look to Arkansas a little bit. So this will be a huge game for Auburn. I don't know that this is as much of a must-win as Vanderbilt was, but the way that Arkansas has played, I mean, they're coming off a huge overtime win over Florida, so they're going to be feeling themselves carrying the momentum. But as we head into Arkansas, is this as much of a must-win as Vanderbilt was?
Man, I think every other game after the next is a must-win besides the Iron Bowl. I think we have to win against Arkansas. We have to win against Mexico State. That's what I said in our episode a couple of days ago is, if we do that, then I like our standard from the season. But yeah, I mean, going into Arkansas, I think if our defense plays the way they did against Vandy, and if our offense just kind of tweaks a couple little things, and then we should win that game. I don't think Arkansas is a good football team. I think if you watch their games from this season, they're just not a good football team. They're one of the worst in the SEC in a couple of the categories. So I don't know. It's gonna be a tough game for Auburn, I think, but I think it's a must win for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this Auburn team sneakily could come out with a win. In my preseason
Yeah.
so far, not saying anything, but I may or may not be perfect on record so far. Just saying. I have us preseason. I had us losing at Arkansas. I had us winning at Vanderbilt, losing at Arkansas. Just because 2 road games, this team struggles on the road. Has the past few seasons. I know new coaching staff, but whatever. I'm feeling a little different now, coming off of back-to-back wins with Vanderbilt being a semi-home game. Like, it's just a different energy in the perspective of if we win the last 4 games and go into this Iron Bowl 4-0 in 4 weeks, and you go into
That's
the biggest game of your
huge.
season, bowl eligible,
That's huge.
coming
man.
off of a month high. I don't know. It's just a different season vibe. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for these last 4 weeks, man. I'm excited for the
Mine
roller
too.
coaster that it'll give us. I'm excited to win or lose in the Iron Bowl. We'll be sitting extra long in that stadium, taking it all in. Last football game as students. I think the one thing we did forget when we were recapping the Auburn Vandy game, we didn't give out our MVPs. So let's do that right now.
Let's do that real quick.
Eli, I'll let you have first pickings. I kind of have a guess of who you're going to give it to. But you know what? I'll give you the honors. Who's your MVP?
Man, I have to go with my boy DJ James, man. I think he's the MVP. Let's let this train go real quick.
Dude, it's not Strictly Auburn without a mess up,
Without
and
the
it's not
train,
Auburn
man.
without a train.
So yeah, anyways, DJ James, man, I think he had an outstanding game. 7 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, 2 pass breakups. Completely locked down whoever their Vandy receiver was.
Will Shepard.
Will Shepard, which is I think he's a pretty good receiver. And he had a hell of a game. So shout out to DJ. You just got my MVP pick, but hopefully we keep seeing that from him though.
I mean, I could go Hugh Freeze just with picking a quarterback. I could go Peyton Thorne, a second really positive game in a row. But I got to give it to Jarquez. Second game in a
That's
row
true.
over 100 yards, 10 yards a carry. He's an animal. Another game with 2 touchdowns. He carried this offense. He's the reason
Oh, yeah.
this Auburn team is winning football games. As much as I could say it's coaching and Peyton Thorne, it's Jarquez Hunter. He is the catalyst of this Auburn team. So Jarquez Hunter, MVP, Week 10, carry that momentum into Arkansas. Do you got anything else on this past week moving forward?
Just a quick little hoops thing. Auburn plays Baylor on Tuesday. Huge game. So, man, basketball season's right around the corner. Look for a load of content from basketball from us very soon. But that's all I got.
I like it. I'm excited to talk basketball with you, Eli. I'm excited to
For
get the
sure.
other boys on here. I know Connor's excited. I know Jack, Micah, Keegan, and anyone else who listens is excited and watches and is a part of Strictly Auburn is excited. And Vince.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget about Vince. Go check us out on Twitter or X at Strictly Auburn, wherever you get your podcasts, and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or I don't know where else you get your podcasts, but we're probably there. YouTube at Eagle Eye TV. Might be making our own, but we'll get there when we get there. Drop like, comment, subscribe to whatever we do. Eli, Jake, War Eagle.
War Eagle.